evening to you. So we're getting ready to be on YouTube now, YouTube Live. Let's get ready. We're ready for another explosive talk this evening. Yes, we have, okay, we are live on YouTube. This is the third session for today. We are live, we are good to go. We thank God for this opportunity we have today to be, of course, live to you on both platforms, YouTube and Zoom. God bless you. I want to welcome everybody. We are about to get started. I have my beloved wife in the house. I'm not the one that will do the talking, so I'm just going to shift so that she can have her space. So we have, I'm sure a lot of you will be wondering, where is she? You always see her in the background, okay? Don't worry, you'll soon see her face now. Eh? You'll soon see her face, okay? All right, so we have this great woman in the house. She's a lawyer, she's a legal practitioner, based in Abuja here with me, always by my right-hand side. And she's here to really get us into speed. There are issues that we need to look at legally. And I know a lot of persons often get confused when you talk about legal issues in terms of marital dimension and the family dimension. So she's here to do justice to that topic. I'm going to reveal her face as you make welcome my dynamic wife, my lovely wife, the bone of my bone and the flesh of my flesh. Okay, let me not go on like that so that I don't. So my wife is here. Let's make welcome Irena Fragrance Osemwahu. God bless you. Over to you, ma'am.
Good evening, everyone.
Good evening, Pastor.
MCR is 2 years old today. Praise the Lord.
Hallelujah.
It has been awesome. Honestly, these past 2 years has been years of so much consistency put in place, rigorous work put in place, God's faithfulness. I just want to say, Father, thank you for what you are doing in MCI. Thank you for your hand that is strong and mighty in MCI. Hey, Father, we thank you. What can we say than to say thank you to you? You began this vision, and I know you are taking this vision to places in Jesus Christ's name. Praise God. And once again, I will say congratulations to Apostle Festus. I see him every time, every night, no sleeping. 3:30 he's awake. Sometimes till 1 o'clock, 1:30 he's still posting. And I've never seen a man like him that is so faithful, consistent, diligent, and has given up everything about him to his passion, his purpose in life. I want to say more grace, sir. More grace, sir. More grace, sir, to function. And I have a broad topic before me today, say marriage and legal dimensions. The topic is wide though. I will take it slowly so that we'll at least grab some things. Marriage and legal dimensions to this following: acquisition of properties and protection of the woman in the event of the deceased husband. That's one of the things I will be speaking with us on this evening. Marriage and legal dimensions to this following. First thing, one, acquisition of properties and protection of the woman in the event of the deceased husband. And number two is legal dimension, marriage and legal dimension to marital abuse. And the third thing I'll be talking about is marriage and legal dimension to the child's rights. The child has rights, and I know most of us don't know this. As parents, we take so many things for granted. So we'll be discussing these three dimensions this evening. And I pray that the Holy Spirit will help us. Father, we thank you. We bless your holy name. Holy Spirit of God, I ask that you come and impact us yourself. Teach us yourself this evening so that your name alone, oh God, will be glorified in Jesus Christ's name. Now, in marriage, couple take certain things for granted. And in the long run, they bite their hands for it. They just see some things and overlook these things as if they don't really matter. And some of these things actually matter. They are the things they later cry over. And you start wondering, where were you when all these things were going bad? And sometimes I have seen couples come to us in our law firm then, and they'll just be narrating their ordeal. Sometimes there was a time I was actually angry with a woman saying, what happened to you? Did you push chewing gum in your eyes, or you put super glue in your ears? You didn't understand the hard drive, these things that were happening. Why did you keep giving? This woman came, she said her husband came from abroad, and she just believed everything was okay. You know, African ladies, when they see someone from abroad, whether he was washing cars there, whether he's still under the bridge, they don't really care to know. This one is from abroad. They just say yes to the person. So she rented the house they were staying, did so many things, bought him clothes, everything, the business together, and the man will be siphoning her money. And the man went and took a loan on her name and used the wife's elder brother, the mother's, the collateral. So, and I was like, why did you continue in all this? I don't know what to call it. So a lot of persons do certain things in marriage, and they don't know the legal implication. So I will begin to you a few things you need to know legally in order to safeguard yourself and the future of your children. I hope I'm not too fast.
No.
So when you are acquiring property, for instance, as couple, ensure your names both appear on the documents. These are some of the legal things you need to know when you are talking about properties. As couples, you need to acquire some properties. When you are acquiring some properties, see, in an ideal situation, there is no problem. For instance, there was a time my principal at the law firm in Ibadan was like, what is wrong with you, Reina? Your own is too much, love, love, love. How can you say you acquire property, yourself and your husband? He said, sir, it is an ideal situation. In an ideal situation, anything can go. But in an ideal situation, when you acquire properties, ensure your names both appear on that document. I'll give you an example. Let it not be Mr. and Mrs. John Otubu. No. When you acquire property, for instance, the names that should appear on it is Mr. John Otubu and Mrs. Mary Otubu. If you acquire that property, both of you is a joint property, and you put Mr. John and Mrs. Otubu, any Mrs. can be brought in future. So at least so any Mrs. can be brought in future in the case of any eventuality, and to cover up that other Mrs. Anybody is a Mrs. So ensure if you're acquiring a property with your husband, both names appear first, number one thing. And number two, legal points I need to advise us here. There was a time I was in court. We had a matter in court, and I witnessed a divorce matter. And I was sad. They came and they were washing their dirty linen in the public. The wife went as far as telling the husband, even the wristwatch he wore to call that day, that he bought this social amount of, they were talking in pounds. The house they are staying, she knows the amount of money she used in acquiring it. And the husband too will say, how about the car you drove to court today? I bought it for you. They were just washing their dirty linen in public, saying, I bought this for you, I bought that for you. And it was so sad. What they did when the journey was rosy, they came to court, and the judge just put his hand in his chin, and he was just watching them. And that day when we got to the office, we all sat down to talk on a round table. To avoid situations like this, what should couple do? What should we do to avoid such? Because we can't really tell. Things are happening in Nigeria. Hey, things are happening in Africa. So what should you do as couple? Buy your property separately on your own name. I have to be frank with you here. I'm not talking on ideal situation here. Yes, Like, I won't do that with my husband, for instance. We buy things together with our names both on it. Sometimes he will buy things on my name, and I know my head is correct. Tomorrow I will not turn things round and against him. There's this man that we knew again in Ibadan that became so poor because his wife took everything he had away from him. He was a bank manager and they were living well, had 3 or 4 children. And the man just woke up one morning and said she's done with the marriage, that she's through. And meanwhile, while they were buying things, he said the house they built, he built it in at least the woman's name because he felt, yes, there is love. Love is really good between them. And all the things he bought, they carried it. The woman took everything. He said he just came back home one day, he met an empty house. There was nothing again in the house. She swept everything and she went away with the children. So he had to leave Lagos. He came back to Ibadan to start all over as fresh, selling gas. So to avoid a situation like that, if you are a husband, you want to buy car for your wife, don't buy one car and say, Mr. and Mrs. No, buy her car, put it in her own name. Mrs. Joy, this is your car, let the receipt be in her name. You are buying car for yourself, buy it in your own name. This is your car. If you are buying for the children, let it be for the children. I will tell you the reason why I'm saying this. These are legal advice. These are what we advise people when you come to us, honestly, because a lot of persons have done it the other way around and they regretted it. If you are building a house, you can build a house too for your wife and put it in her name, not Mr. and Mrs. That's another legal dimension to it. So I have a personal view, for instance, concerning marriage, like the Christian marriage. I have a personal view. No, marriage generally, I have a personal view for it. For instance, the Christian marriage says, till death do you part. On the other hand, the statutory marriage, also known as the call to wedding, the way they call it in the local way today is a statutory marriage, says till as long as it lasts. And the latter is saying, in the case of eventuality, you can go your own way. But no, my own view is the Christian marriage is very good. Yes, it's good. Please, after the Christian marriage, the church wedding, the way it is called, the customary wedding has been taken care of. Please still ensure you go to court and carry out the statutory marriage, a marriage under the act. It is very good. So in the case of eventuality, there will not be anything like, what will I do? I'm starting all over again from the scratch. No, let everything be in place. You can't tell, God forbid, people always blame Satan. Sometimes Satan are never really there when all these things are happening. It is a habit people have refused to curb over the years that take the best part of them and they start misbehaving in marriage. So we will, before we consider some of the rights in marriage, I just gave us some legal dimensions. So we'll be talking about the rights not in marriage. So before we go into considering some of the rights in marriage, and I want you to know the elements that makes your marriage legally binding. Number one is the party legal ability to marry each other. Now, before we talk about, now I just gave us some tips on the legalities when you have to acquire properties, what you should do and things not to do. So now we'll be talking about some of these legal dimensions, legal rights in marriage. So before you can claim anything, any legal rights, first thing is the parties should be legally have the ability to legally marry each other. That is, age should be considered, state of sanity should also be considered. Number two thing is mutual consent of the parties, mutual consent of the parties. Then number three is a marriage contract as required by the law. That is the statutory marriage. So when these three things are in place, so we can talk about legalities, we can talk about the things that will make such a marriage legally binding. So some legal rights in marriage are one, right to inherit spouse property upon death. Right to inherit spouse property upon death. Two, right to sue for spouse wrongful death. Yes, right to sue for spouse wrongful death. When you look at say number one, I just mentioned, right to inherit spouse property upon death. Hey, in Nigeria, in Africa. Let's continue. We'll go back to that later. Number three, right to use partner's surname. That's why I'm answering Mrs. Irena Fragrance Osemwahu. Nobody will tell me tomorrow when I got married under the ads, yes, that was the name that was written down. Nobody will tell me. In fact, I'm the only one that have the right to bear that name. Any other person bearing the name is a counterfeit. In fact, the person will be looking for trouble. Any day I see that any other person bearing Mrs. Osemwahu, you tell me where you got that name from. So right to use partner's surname. For right not to mandatory testify in court cases as a spouse, yes, if so long you're a couple, no court would mandate you to come to court and testify either on or against your spouse. Right to decline to give evidence. Right to decline to give evidence in court cases as well. Number 6, right to perform legal acts. Right to perform legal acts. I will explain this. You need, under this context, you need each other's consent to sell properties. Yes, right to carry out some legal acts. For instance, I'll give you an example. If two of you, okay, the house both of you have lived in together for years, and maybe there's a quarrel, there's something, and the man wants to just wake up one morning, just woke up and said he's selling that house. He has no right to sell it. The wife can go and put a caveat on it, caveat emptor, and she can write it there, boldly there. He has no right to sell it. So that should be house that both of you had stayed together as couple. So it kind as such at there's permission should be sought from the other party. I want to sell this house. If he or she gives permission, then person can go on to sell. But if there's no permission, he has no right, she has no right to sell. So the wife or the husband can put a caveat on the property. Number 7, right to maintenance. That is to support each other financially. Yes, that's a right. I frown at it when I see they say this one is the one that is carrying the whole responsibility in the marriage, or the wife, the husband is the one carrying the whole responsibility. No, it is wrong. I'm not actually here to incite anybody here. Please just know the right, and if there are things you are not doing rightly, start doing them rightly. So right to maintenance, that is to support each other financially. Number 8, right to pension. Yes, that is a pension scheme enables you to build up right to an old age. So if you divorce, the pension right built up during your marriage will be divided between both of you, except you decide otherwise. So right to pension, that is the pension you both built up while you were in marriage. So if there's anything in case of eventuality, and the pension will be shared among both of you, except you decide otherwise. So now, just talk about some of the rights when it has to do with properties and all of that. So we're going to right of the widow. This is a topic that is so it touches me a lot, and I don't know. Sometimes I wonder, because in Nigeria, for instance, the people that actually suffer this wrong mostly are people from the eastern part of Nigeria. Most of these widow coming to court every time crying, find out most of them are from the east. And I wonder what is wrong. Is it a mentality thing, or what is really wrong with them? And Nigeria has rights for the widow, but sometimes they downplay it as if the woman is not really strong, they're ready to sweep her off out of the marriage if things are not properly taken in the right perspective. So right of the widow. Ordinarily, Nigerian law provides for a widow of statutory marriage to be entitled to the couple's property upon the death of the husband. But we all know that the Nigerian reality does not really support that. Yes, Nigerian law has made adequate provision for the widow to inherit her husband's property. But the Nigerian reality, like I said earlier on, do not really support it at all. The right of the widow will often be ignored or challenged by the family of her deceased husband. Sometimes she might even be accused. If care is not taken, she'll be accused. All manner of barbaric things will be done to her. Come to the village, drink something, dirty things. Sometimes they will even poison her and she will die innocently, and they will accuse her, okay, of actually having killed the husband. So many things are done. So I want you to know, because if the foundation is right, the foundation is well laid, nobody will carry out this kind of atrocity against you. We won't pray for such thing. No one will have fall into early widowhood here or early widowerhood here in the name of Jesus Christ. So our law on statutory marriage is modeled though on the British law, and it is clear from this law that inheritance is to be shared by the widow and her children. But do we have this most time in Nigeria? No. But the husband family will often demand a hearing before a traditional or even a customary court. That's why I always advise. This is the reason why I advise that people should also contract a statutory marriage. At least they will help you learn the voice there. Yes, I would advise this. It's not because you are praying for divorce or you are praying for any bad thing to happen or whatever you jump. No, I don't subscribe to divorce. I'm not an advocate of divorce. But you need to put some things in place because you never can tell when anything will happen and someone will come. I don't know how you labor in your mind will just come, one in-law will just come and tell you, yes, he's kicking you out. No. So I advise this. People should always contract statutory marriage, even if the customary marriage has been well carried out. So the rights of the widow are often not upheld in the customary courts, but may be upheld in the regular court. Yes, if all the elements of marriage can actually be ascertained, yes, they can be upheld. So the common view in Nigeria is that the family of the deceased are more closely related to the disease than the widow. And that ought not to be so. This was a man and the wife that lived together. Maybe they actually started from the scratch. Nobody knew how. They were drinking gari with fish, doing all manner of things together, and they made it. And you will not come and say you are closer to him than the wife. Did you sleep with him? When he was alive, was he having carnal knowledge with you? Was he having sex with you? And you say you are close, lack of knowledge. So sometimes she might even be accused, like I said earlier on, of killing her husband, especially when there are no kids to show for it. And even sometimes getting the property back, if she eventually wins, is an uphill tax, because by then maybe some of the relatives must have been maybe in the property, maybe taking over the cars, over the houses, and maybe they're already there in the property. So taking it back is always difficult. She still had to go to another level again to acquire this property to get it back from their clause. Sometimes custom demands she marries into the family again to have access to the property. Just imagine. I came across a widow recently and she lost her husband mysteriously like 2 years ago. She has 3 kids. They didn't even bother to ask her how she has been taking care of these 3 kids, how she's feeding, where they are staying, nothing, only for them to call her, I think in the month of January, that she should come and choose who to marry among the late husband's brothers. Sometimes this widow, out of helplessness, they are compelled to be married into the family again to have financial security. And this is what they call levirate marriage. Levirate marriage is the biblical institution whereby a man must marry the widow of his childless brother in order to maintain the brother's line. This happened in the Bible. We all can remember the story of what was his name? Was it Judah that now went and slept with his son's wife, and that was the sin he committed, sin of adultery, where the first one died without a child. Okay, the second one can't go in. You also will go with him. Intentionally spill his sperm that it will not, how would I put it now? The woman will not be pregnant, the third one, till the Lord kept killing them until Judah was like, no, if I allow this one to marry this woman, maybe perhaps he will be killed again. No way. So that's what they call levirate marriage. It's a biblical institution whereby a man must marry the widow of his childless brother in order to maintain the brother's line. So now it's like a thing they compel a widow to do, a thing they tax. Like this woman was like, have they ever sent money to you? She said no. Where are you staying? Even where they are staying, they don't even know anything about them. But they're asking her to come and marry one of the late husband's brothers, so that she said she's not going. I said, fine, if you can come with that, then go ahead. Enjoy yourself. So sometimes these widows are compelled to go into such a thing. And also, when a man dies intestate, the family often demand for the whole property. That is in a situation whereby when you say dies intestate, that means there was no will in place. See, when we talk about will here, then it used to make me very emotional. Say, will. What will? Why should I even advise somebody to write a will? Someone came to me some time ago, was like, I want to write my will. So I was like, do you want to die now? Why do you want to write your will? You want to die? You planning of death? And so when he left, I was like, I don't know what this man is seeing, or that is making him say he wants to write his will. It was the most appropriate time to write his will. You don't have to wait. And when a man dies, he can't come back and write his will again. And the one that is sick, and I don't know. So I don't know when I was like, I don't know. I would think about it because it's a thing that makes me very emotional. As in, sometimes I feel like, is the person going to die? Things like that. But no, will is a thing we should joyfully write down. If you have lived a good life, write it down. I had a friend in Ibadan. Thank God of what the husband did. They both started from the scratch. The man struggled. He died in his early, I think it was just, okay, the year he was going to be 40 was when this man was cut off. And he had so much property, beautiful homes that he built, cars, he had the company, everything. It was on his hospital, he died of cancer. They taken him to India and he still didn't make it. And so on his hospital bed, we realized the way the mother was, as if they knew he was going to die. I don't know what happened. I don't know if anybody killed anybody. That's not my business. But the husband noticed the way they were treating the wife. The mother had already gone to the village to bring some of his uncle that he had not even seen for years. I didn't even know where he was, whether he was existing since their father died. So on his hospital bed, he wrote his will. Thank God he was able to write the will before he died. And as soon as the man gave up the ghost, some weeks after, it was the man's mother that this woman really took care of, that came first to the house to say, do you want to remarry again or what? Let's talk about how to share the property, because your late husband had a younger brother. So you cannot leave so many things. Just imagine. This woman said, what do you want? Anything you want, go ahead and take it. So they didn't know they were still going to make trouble with her. But thank God the man wrote a will down. And that was saved the situation. So one of them, their hands were just taken aback. So I will always advise, it is not writing a will, it's not because you are going to die or anything. Because of these African people, sometimes I wonder what is wrong with these African men, African women, I don't know, sometimes, I don't know, I say, what is wrong? Is it that the color of their skin has really done so much damage to the brain and they don't know that blood flows in the vein of the woman as well? It's the woman most times that falls a prey that is always sometimes that I feel for most times, because if it's the woman that dies, there's no problem. The husband will take over the property. No problem. Except maybe the family will come and, but if it's the husband, oh no, the woman must go. So sometimes she'll be forced. If she wants to have financial, maybe stability, really, because they have actually, the husband dies intestate without a will. Oh, so sorry, such a pity, and they're already on her flesh, on her throat. Sometimes she wants to protect her innocent children. She doesn't want these children to be killed. She'll succumb. She'll marry anyone amongst them, so that at least she can still have access to her husband's property, and the security for her children will also be guaranteed. So the law is one thing, but the general practice is another thing in Nigeria. That's it. The law is one thing. The law of the widow's rights, the widow's inheritance, here is one thing, but is it practicable? It's another thing in Nigeria. So that's why I say all these basic things should be put in place so that when the eventuality happens, nobody will cry. Nobody. Let them take you to customary court or any traditional court. all the documents will be there to show that, yes, they belong to you. And I always advise the men here, and any wise man, you're wise, please learn to write any property you're acquiring in the name of your wife. Sometimes we can have children that are frivolous. I will tell their mom, yes, dad wrote this in this will in my name. He said I'll be in charge. So mom, what? Without the mom, they won't have been you. Some children are actually frivolous, while some are wise. Okay, mom, I'll give the will to you. I'll give that property to you. So I will advise wise men, if you have a good wife, a good woman, God has blessed you with, because if not for that woman, maybe they will not be favored in your life in the first instance. He that find a good thing shall find favor, shall why they put it again, that find a wife shall find a good thing and obtain favor from the Lord. So I'm sure she has brought favor, fortune to you in the first instance. So I always advise, put everything you have in your wife's name, and God would help us. Our husband will not die untimely in Jesus Christ's name. So according to the law, a wife inherits. Now, normally under there are 3 recognized inheritance law in Nigeria. Number 1, according to the statutory law, a wife inherits half of the whole estate. That's number 1. Under the statutory law, a wife inherits half of the whole estate if there are no children. If there are no children, under the statutory law, these are the recognized law of inheritance for the widow. The wife inherits half of the property if there are no children. Now, under the Islamic law, the widow will only get 1/4 of her husband's estate. Now, the last one is customary law that says a widow cannot inherit, can you imagine, but can stay in her husband's family by agreeing to be inherited by one of his king's men. Finish. I hope you are grasping something. And if there are things you're not doing right, I hope you're actually taking note of these things. And I always advise again, the woman should be hardworking. Be hardworking. Let your hands be let your hand be diligent. Let your hand be hardworking, so that you won't have to rely on anybody's property. See that a man diligent in his business. The Bible says he will not stand among men. They are among kings, among princes. The woman should also be hardworking. I won't subscribe that the woman sits down and fold her hands, waiting that the husband one day will die and the property will become hers. No. The woman also should also have an inheritance. Be hardworking, have things that you have also acquired that you have. Even the families, they'll be afraid. When your in-laws, when they come, they see that even the woman is hardworking, she's the rock, she's the backbone of this. They can't come close to you. So the woman too is that one that is lazy, that is doing full-time housewife, that is doing everything. Yes, they meet her in the kitchen cooking. Every time they come, they meet her and tying wrapper in her chest. She's the one that will come and fling her. No, not the one that knows her onions. No. So number 2, we're going to the second legal dimensions now, to marital abuse or violence. Don't forget, the topic we are treating is marriage and legal dimensions. 2 legal dimension to marital abuse. VAP, Violence Against Person Prohibition Act. I don't really like this topic, marital abuse. Honestly, I don't like it. I have seen a couple of cases, situations of persons losing their lives because they chose to remain in an abusive marriage. God forbid. So, marital abuse is a violent or aggressive behavior in the home setting involving the violent abuse of a spouse or a partner. Marital abuse is a violent or aggressive behavior in the home setting involving the violent abuse of a spouse or a partner. This tactic is often used by one partner to gain power or control over the other spouse. Most persons, I don't know, there's something they normally say in Yoruba. It's a Yoruba slogan. When somebody's time is here, they will say, people should go and check his brain. Though maybe that man used his head to hit the ground while he was a child, and they didn't know, the mother did not know, and maybe the blood had gone to the wrong side, and now he's, because I don't know why you should be beating your wife. You beat your wife, you are beating yourself. I don't know why a man should raise up in her. So it's sometimes I just, because sometimes I see like this body is even so soft. You carry that punch, you punch her, you beat her, and you be beating her, the woman will be crying to the extent that the woman will pass out, and I don't know. So marital abuse is on the rise in Nigeria today for these following reasons. It's not as if people can't actually curb it. People can't, as in, run away from marital abuse. But some persons are just there. I'm sure they are the reasons why this lot has fallen on them. They are the reason why they are going through, honestly, going through such an abusive marriage. So in Nigeria, it has really gone so high, but thank God, since the COVID period had really curbed so many things. Although COVID period became a thing of 50-50, though, but now reduced to 60-40, because COVID period made some persons to become close. The man that used to go out before, I don't know, because some even made them to start cleaning themselves the more, because at least this one will get angry, go to work, stay in the place, or go and hang out with friends, but they were compared to staying home. So during COVID period, I think it became a thing of 50-50 or 60-40 thereabout. So it's a thing that I don't know what is making people to see, not to speak out. So this thing I'll be speaking like a legal practitioner, not as a pastor at all. So the following are the reasons why people stay in abusive marriage. One, the belief that marriage is the peak of achievement for the Nigerian woman. Just imagine. I don't know. A woman will stay in an abusive marriage because she believes, or has marriage, I don't know. Maybe she has built marriage with that marriage certificate they gave to her in court that day. Maybe she has gone to court to cash money with it. I don't know. Maybe she has built a house on the sea with it. I don't know. Or maybe she has gone to the moon to acquire some things, space there. And I don't know, because some I've heard, not I was told, they believe is the peak of the woman's achievement. So even when the man wants to kill her, she will stay there. Number two, many religious person believes that divorcee will not make heaven. Is it true? It's a lie. Have you heard of this woman called Catherine Kuma? Catherine Kuma was a woman, and in fact, I love that woman, honestly. There was a time I was praying, I was asking God while I was in school, Father, hey, use me like Catherine Kuma, but the next thing was, can I pay the price Catherine Kuma paid? Catherine Kuma was not, she didn't have a good marriage, didn't have a husband. She too had an abusive marriage, she didn't have a home, but God used her mightily. We heard of Benny Hill. We know of Benny Hill. Benny Hill said he used to go when he was a boy of about 10 years, how many years? 11, 10, 12 years. I know. He would go to Kachikuma ministrations. You see crowd. They said there was one that he was so baffled and surprised. He was watching. He said the anointing carried her that she was walking in the air. She was a woman that was fully anointed. God used her. She still maximized her potentials. Her purpose was also fulfilled as a woman. So I don't know why some religious person believes that divorcee will not make heaven. So because of that, you want to die, they want to kill you there, you stay there. And this might have led so many persons, wrong marriage has led them to hell, because you don't know when the rapture will take place. He beats you, insult yourself by his. I don't know. The second reason. The third thing is the belief that divorcees are mostly treated with contempt and are subject to some disabilities. They are sometimes not allowed to hold certain positions in the church and offices in the society. So for this reason, a whole lot of person decide to stay in abusive marriage. Number 4, many victims of marital violence are afraid that their children will hate them if they choose to walk away. It is well. If you don't walk away, you don't do anything about that abusive marriage, and it kills you, that child will suffer, because another man will come in and take your place and will maltreat that child, will call you all manner of names before that child. So I don't know why you have this erroneous belief that if you walk away or maybe you do something about that state, that your children will hate you. Number 5, they stay put in an abusive marriage because they don't want their partner to marry someone else. Can you imagine? envy. If I leave now, somebody else come and marry. No. So you are putting your head there every time. It's punching that head for you, punching your stomach. One day it will mistakenly hit a vital organ in your body, and you will think it's the usual way, and your enemy will not get up again. That won't be anybody's portion here in Jesus Christ's name. So the male victims are unable to walk out of violent marriages because it is believed that a man is less of a man if he is not in charge of the situation at all times. Is it true? The man believes it is not culturally acceptable for him to leave because of ego, self-esteem. Why would I leave? How would I carry on? Do you know it's not only the women that are maritally abused? Some women too are maritally abusing their husbands. It's vice versa. It's not only the women. No. Under this topic, some women are, in fact, they are notorious. And please, I want somebody here to repent if you are such a woman that you know you are abusing your husband verbally, you are abusing your husband emotionally. Some of them, they don't want to leave, they don't want to cry because even the men folks will laugh at them. How can you say your wife is maltreating, your wife is doing this, doing that? So they have chosen to keep quiet. So marital abuse is not consensual, but rather a pattern of behavior used by an individual to maintain cohesive control over another. So I'll be listing the types of marital abuse we have here. Is this 6? No, about 7 or so, thereabouts. 7 types of marital abuse, okay? First one is the verbal abuse. I want us to listen attentively while I list them out, and you look inward and see if you are suffering from any of them. Verbal abuse. This is a kind of abuse that involves partner calling the other partner all manner of derogatory names, threats, intimidations, so on and so forth. 2, emotional abuse. I have to be fast here. Emotional abuse, it involves criticizing constantly, displaying extreme jealousy, publicly humiliating, isolating the partner, dominating, etc. That's emotional abuse. Financial abuse, controlling the money, concealing joint assets, keeping the other impoverished, using partner's money without consent. And this type of abuse starts small and later aggravates. Physical abuse involves pushing, slapping, hitting, kicking, choking, pulling the hair, biting, using weapons, tying the partner up, locking the partner in a room without denial of food. Sexual abuse, raping, physically attacking sexual parts, forcing partner to perform sexual acts. Then 6, litigation abuse. This is a kind of situation where one party keep bringing petty matter to court over and over again, constantly after they might have broken up. It happens in divorce cases. That is litigation abuse. A particular party keeps bringing matter often, just to weaken the other person's emotions. So the solution to this type of abuse is that you have to prove to the court that the abuser keep bringing to court are without merit, are fight to harass you. So the judge, on the other hand, may issue an order that will help limit the litigation abuse or its effect by the following. That is, by ordering the party bringing excessive motion to pay the court costs and lawyer's fee, by ordering that no motions or petition can be filed, or that no court appearance may be scheduled. Now, another thing that the court can do is to deny adjournment requests for excessive or unnecessary delay. Now, these are the solutions to marital abuse. Solutions to marital abuse are: 1, speak to a counselor, please. For all these 6 things that I have listed, you are suffering any one of them, please speak to a counselor, speak to a lawyer. I have to be very fast here, time is fast running. Speak to a counselor, speak to a lawyer, seek refuge It could be a temporary refuge or permanent refuge. Depends on the peculiarity of the situation. So this gives the abuser a second chance when the helper realizes he or she is at fault. So scrutinizing preconceived notion about divorce and divorcees. Yes, scrutinize them again. Like I said, Kachikuma was a woman fully used by God, well, a very anointed woman of God while she was alive. 5, divine intervention. Solution, divine intervention. Seek divine intervention. Number 6, say no to victim blaming. I won't have time to explain all these ones. Say no to victim blaming. Number 7, awareness or sensitization. Awareness or sensitization. Number 8, children should not grow up in abusive years. That is what you should consider. So it has some psychological impact on them negatively. So these are some of the things you consider. The children must not grow up in them. So because of this, you have to seek awareness, sensitization about what is going on, the type of abuse you are suffering. Now, abstinence from alcohol or drugs will also help the solution. Then speak up, especially the men. The men should also learn to also speak out. So I'll rush the last one now, marriage and legal dimension to the right of a child. I have to rush this, like I said, time. The topic is broad and I'm just trying to cut so many things down here. So parents should learn that the best form of way to discipline a child is not most time by beating, doing all manner of things. So we should take our time as parents, learn what is it. We have children and they come with their own peculiarities. So what is the best formula? The formula Mrs. A or Mr. A is using to handle their children must not be the same because the children come with different temperament, they come with different character traits. So we shouldn't follow the same pattern because it is working for Mrs. John. Mr. John does not mean to work for Mr. and Mrs. Peter. So parents should learn the best way to discipline a child. So the child has right, just like the adult as stated in the Child's Act. So there is a thin line between discipline and abuse. And this most people don't know. Most times we cross the line without knowing as parents. So parents should take training on how to discipline a child. Like I do it most times. I have a friend that is a counselor, as in a teenage counselor. So sometimes I call her, we talk. She sends some things to me through my email. I read them, some articles she has, books she has written, she sent them to me. I read them so I know the appropriate way, because while we're growing, when we're young, the way we behave is different from how our children are behaving in this new age. So like I said earlier on, the child has rights like the adult too. So as parents, we are obligated to help protect the rights of the child. So let's consider some of the rights of the child. I'm really rushing here, honestly. So 1, right of the child, right to an identity. That is right to a name, nationality from birth, ensuring that the birth is registered. Some persons, maybe they gave birth to their children in private hospital. You need to still go to the local government and get the birth certificate registered so that he or she will be recognized in your country. So right to health. Children should be cared for when they are sick, protected from drugs, enjoying living conditions not dangerous to their health. Number 3, right to education. Do you know some parents are educated, but they don't understand why we should educate our children? Some of them will say it is good to educate only the boys and leave the girls alone. There was one I fought with in Ibadan some years ago. He had the means, but he said the girl should not be educated. That when he educates a girl child, she will carry the education to her husband. So he was taking only the boys to good schools, private schools. And this one against an Igbo. I don't know why they had such mentality. Sorry, I'm not picking on Igbo today. It's an Igbo man now. I spoke and I had to go and meet the wife. So while you have the business, you are making your money, please send your daughters to school. Don't mind this man. Tomorrow these girls, and they are brilliant girls. When they become something useful, he will come and start claiming that the children belongs to him. So right to education, the right to a family. All children have right to live with people who love and care for them. Right to be protected from violence. So many things have been happening of late to our children, raping them. manner of abuse being carried out on them. So many cases I've heard. This one, like about 72 years old man that defied, was it 5 years old girl? I was asking, where was the mother? Where did she go to? Was she sleeping when a man in the compound, 72 years old man, was defied? 5 years, yes, defying this 5 years old girl. So they have right to be protected. We are to protect them from all manner of evil going on in this world at this end time. So number 6, right of an opinion. Some of us, we shut them up. That child has the right to air his or her opinion to you. Shut them up. She has the right to speak. They have rights, just like the adult too. You don't know your opinion. Her opinion might actually save you. Let them speak. I allow my child, for instance, my daughter, to advise me. She gave me a quality advice yesterday. Somebody came to the house to say hello to us. After they left, I brought in some of the things. I brought some things out, and she was like, Mommy, can I say something to you? I said, what? I was like, what does she want to say? So, Mommy, please don't give these things out to people again. When they return them, they might have, I just have this feeling that they will not return them back the same way you are giving them. They might have contaminated them or spoiled them. So please don't give out all these things you have now to people again, because they are not handling these things well. I was like, how you do know? She's a child. What she was saying to me was big, was weighty. So I now asked her, how you do know what you are saying, that the things I give to people, some of them will return it back and it might have been spoiled. I should be very careful. I didn't look at her with the eye of a child. Like Apostle preached some time ago, some of these children might have predestinated in the age, their predestinated age might actually be older than us. She said she just felt in her spirit. And I took it. I said, my daughter, thank you. I've heard it. There are sometimes I will be angry with a particular person. She will say, Mommy, can I talk to her? I say, well, please don't be angry. Forgive her. I'll look at her. That's the right of an opinion. You understand? But some of us parents, we don't allow them to talk. Believe we are parents. We know. Shut up. What are you saying? Shut up, man. There. Get out of here. It's wrong. That child has rights as an adult too. So number 7, right to be protected from armed conflicts. Number 8, right to be protected from exploitation. Yes. A lot of us, we are engaging the services of children as house help. Please stop it. A child should not be obliged to work in difficult or dangerous situation in order to survive or make ends meet for his or her parent. Please stop it. Those of you families that enjoy employing children 10 years, 11 years, as the case may be, some it might even be 8 years, and you have an 8-year-old child at home, that child will still be sleeping, and an 8-year-old will be sleeping, washing clothes, doing everything. Please stop. That's child abuse. Please, please, please. So if there are some persons here using these children for child labor, don't forget they have their own right to, so be warned. So I am bringing this broad topic to a conclusion here at this moment. Honestly, is really broad, and I've actually been running so that I can meet up with the time allocated for me. I want to entertain 1 or 2 questions. I don't know if I have been able to explain some of these legal dimensions, okay, actually, because it's a topic that actually needs to be given like up to like 3 hours. But we talk, we have how would I put it? We talk to ourselves and we have everything well ironed out.
Okay. All right. Thank you very much, my beloved wife. Thank you for this great presentation. We'll just go into questions. Now, see, truly, this is really very broad. Honestly, I'm not sure we can finish this within 1 hour, but we'll see. We'll get back on this again. We're going to have another session for this. Now, there are a couple of questions that I want you to look at. Okay, someone asks, in the case of a couple who did only traditional marriage, does the woman have a good standing if problems arise regarding property tussle? Now, let me just quickly say this. Please, you can drop your question on the YouTube platform as well. That way, it stays there. Zoom meeting, after this meeting, it will just be over. All right, so you have your question. Please, you just chat it up, and our guest speaker this evening would attend to them. And of course, if we can't finish it, we're going to bring her back again. So someone is asking that question, man. In the case of a couple who did only traditional marriage, does the woman have a good standing if problems arise regarding property tussle?
I'll be frank with you here. You don't have any standing. Because like I said, we have 3 types of inheritance that is recognized. Traditional marriage sees the woman already as the husband's property. Can you get me? When you contract a traditional marriage or customary marriage, what they see in the eye of custom, the husband has paid your dowry, so he has bought you, so you are his, belongs to you. So you don't even have any hold. You can't lay hold to the husband property to anything. No. So I always advise, I will say it over and over again, go contract a statutory marriage. That's what they refer to as court, and locally referred to as court wedding. Statutory marriage, marriage under the act, so that you can have some legal binding in case of any eventuality. No. So if you stop at traditional marriage alone, when anything happens, you go to the marriage, is it marriage customary court or whatever, family. Most times it's not even court, if they will call the elders in the family, okay, I go to return dowry. They'll just return the dowry and sometimes ask you to go. And they'll tell you didn't come to our house with these children, so you can't go with us. So it's such a pathetic situation. No, you have to still go and add the other one to it. It's an added value.
All right, thank you very much, ma'am. Is civil partnership recognized in Nigeria? That is, people living together without marriage. And does the woman have any legal standing if issues concerning property arise?
Is civil partnership recognized in Nigeria? That is, people living together without marriage. And does the woman have legal standing? It's, oh God. In Nigeria, it is seen as cohabitation. It is not recognized. It's seen as cohabitation, two adults with the same, with consent, they have agreed with agreement, adults coming to stay together. So there is nothing like maybe when anything happens, you need to go your own way and you maybe start fighting for property, except while we're staying together, you acquire this property, yes, in your name, like I said earlier on. The other legal tips I gave to us, apart from when you're acquiring property, make sure the names are both there, the names of the husband and wife, not Mr. and Mrs. Okonkwo, no, let it be Mr. Ekele Dichuku and Mrs. Ngozi Okonkwo. Said when you were acquiring some property while you were together in that civil partnership, you bought this biro in your name. This biro belongs to a patient, so it's yours. And you bought this modem in your name, so this modem belongs to maybe John. So in case of maybe any kind of disengagement, you go with the things that belong to you. So otherwise, it is not a recognized kind of marriage or anything. So in the eye of the law, you are merely cohabiting.
Okay. Now, I will just quickly say this while my guest speaker gets ready to take the other question. Someone dropped a comment on our YouTube platform trying to condemn the fact that God hates putting away divorce, blah, blah, blah. Please, we want to make it clear. See, this is just a legal dimension. We are not doing this is not a spiritual talk, all right? We are looking at it from the legal dimension. We are looking at it from the eyes of the court. So if we ask us or ask the speaker for her personal opinion about divorce, of course she will have a personal opinion based on what the scripture says, but she is doing this on that platform of a professional and looking at it from what the law says. So please, I don't want to quickly clarify that so that we don't get into that, oh, is it right for divorce and all that. No, that's not it, okay? All right, so we have another question now. It says, is prenuptial contract recognized in Nigeria? Okay, that's the question.
It is not. Anything that is short of marriage under the act is not recognized. It is not. I've stated the types of marriage we have in Nigeria earlier on. This is not recognized. This will just be seen as a mere contract. Maybe if you really maybe want to do it, maybe carry it out in so that you will be okay to be both of you be binding on both of you. What you do, what the practice they carry out in Nigeria is both of you enter into a kind of agreement where there will be a document and an agreement drafted regarding the matter, and you go to a lawyer, get the lawyer seal. We are into prenuptial contracts, and this is what maybe for a so number of years, number of time. So it's just a mere form of contract that still have its own legality as well. That if some of the element that makes contract binding, if they are not in place, can still make the contract void.
Okay, so can we take the other question now? If a woman decides to keep her maiden name after marriage, how does this affect when property matters arise? Okay.
It depends on the circumstances why you are keeping your maiden name. If a woman decides to keep her maiden name after her marriage, why should a woman decide to keep her maiden name? I see it as a thing of pride. When you are married, you should automatically take the surname of your husband. Let me quickly tell you here. I had a friend also that got married some years ago, and she decided to still keep her maiden name. And this was her reason. Her reason was selfish. She said because her father was the one that trained her through medical school. Though she got married while she was still in the school of medicine. So her father sent her to school. So for that reason, her father's name must appear on her certificate, and she'll still be bearing her father's name. And her husband said, no, I have also paid your bride price. You are my wife. Does that mean I did not pay anything? I didn't spend anything at all. So they fought over it for a long time. And I stepped in. I told her, no, take the name of your husband, be bearing your husband's name. So if you are deciding to keep your maiden name after marriage, to me, I see it as, honestly, maybe you're a woman from a family that has a name, a reputable name, and you still want the name to be seen alongside with your husband's name. So when you are married, drop it. Though it does not have any, it won't affect any issue of property, no. Just like what I said earlier on, when you're acquiring property, make sure some tips are in place, some legal things are considered, so it doesn't have to affect, it won't affect, but why still keeping the name? I see it as a matter of pride. Maybe there's a reason personal, your father trained you, so maybe you want people to know you are from a family, things like that, so you don't have to keep it. So you are married, one of the rights of the marriage, so take your husband's surname.
Okay, so is denying a partner sexual intercourse also a type of sexual abuse?
Yes.
Okay.
Denying a partner sexual intercourse is also a type of sexual abuse. When you also forcefully take sexual intercourse from your wife or your husband, is also a form of sexual abuse. When you tear your wife's pants because you want to make love to her and she's not yielding, is also sexual abuse. When you shave her private hair without her consent, letting her know, is also a form of sexual abuse. So denying a spouse sexual intercourse with a reason or no reason is also a form of sexual abuse. It is. For instance, some people go on a sex strike. Maybe they want to protest. They see it as the only way they are going to pass a message across to their husband or their wife. So, okay, because of this reason, when he comes, no, it's an abuse on its own. There is fire on the mountain until you cannot quench it for him. Next question, please.
Wow, I think that's, okay, I think this is the last one, and this is coming in from, okay, let me see if we still have on Zoom, but there is a question from the YouTube followers, viewers. Does the right to share the pension go both ways?
The right to share the pension comes in place when both of you, it is the pension you both engaged in that you have entitlement to. For instance, there's a pension scheme going on, not in his place of work, or a general pension scheme that both of you contributed to. Every month, this coming from both of you, and in your name is for Mr. Johnson and Mr. Johnson Favor and Mrs. What's it called? Mrs. Patient Favor. So that's the name in the pension scheme. So when there's any kind of eventuality, that is the one both of you need to share together. equally, except the other party otherwise maybe decide on anything. But if it is a personal pension scheme, maybe the one that you are working in a company, there's a pension scheme that they remove. Like there was a time I was also working and in a place then in Ibadan, I was working somewhere, and every month there was a pension scheme for us. Every month they will remove a certain amount of money from our salary, the staff's salary. That one belongs to me. I said, oh, my wife decided to, like, as a wife, decide to bring to your husband maybe at the end of the day. So that's mine. So that one is personal to you. If it's a thing that maybe has to do with it. So, but the one that you share, that you have entitlement to, is the one that both of you engaged in, maybe for the family. In the case we are things like that are trying to form, but that's the one that both of you are. But the personal one for your places of work, no.
All right. God bless you. God bless you. We have actually gone above the time we have assigned for this presentation. That's really because this topic is broad. I remember when we got into, when we got into this, my wife said, this topic is broad. How am I going to cope with this? But honestly, this topic is very broad. But we're just trying to see how much we can do an introductory work to this. Hopefully, we're going to have her back monthly. This would be taking place. This would hold every month. And please, I was just going to ask Dr. Moses Ujaduge is raising up his hand, but we can't allow you to ask questions directly. We'll rather get it from the chat. So thank God you had it on the chat. So does the position of the law supersede the will of a deceased partner? Okay. Thank you, Dr. Moses, that you have to put it up in the chat. We've exceeded the time, but let's see if my wife can just do this for just in a minute. Does the position of the law supersede the will of a deceased partner?
The position of the law, like I said earlier on, it has to do with inheritance for the widow or the widower, let's say the widow. Then whereby the deceased partner has already stated how he wants his property to be divulged, to be shared. It does not. It is what the law only help the deceased to fulfill what he has written down, because that is his last testament, and the court respects it. The law respects the last testamentary statement of any deceased person. So what the law does is to help to enforce the will of the deceased partner. I don't know if you understood what I've said.
Yeah. So it's to enforce it, and
yes.
Of course, doesn't supersede
yes.
the will.
It does not supersede, but it will only help it is only when there is no will in place, there was no written will, and the family are trying to like fight the widow over the property. So long the marriage was contracted, then the court can come in and step in and help her fight the injustice about to be carried out on her. But if the law does not supersede the will of the deceased partner, the law will only help the deceased partner enforce his will.
Wow. This is great. A round of applause. Thank you very much.
Please, I want to say something.
Okay.
Please, on a final note here, I am not a lawyer that advocates that is pro divorce. I want to quickly say something here. I'm not an advocate of divorce. While I was still when we're in Ibadan, I've had some cases. In fact, in my law firm, they will intentionally want to test me to bring, because I'm always I fight a great loss of injustice, and for the woman, I try to stay away from any divorce matter. I don't like it. So far, so good. I've only personal matter that I've handled 2 divorce cases. And why I took those 2 divorce cases, because they were close to me. They were persons that I know. One of them is like a daughter to me, and the other one is someone recommended me to her and said, please go and meet her, she will help you. And when I heard the story, it was a pathetic story. And if I say it here, if I won't tell you the situation on ground, a pastor, and I don't want to mention it's a reputable family here in Nigeria. I don't want to say what the woman was going through and everything. It's just to help her get her, how would I call it? The man took over her certificate, NY certificate, her passport to travel out, her university degree, everything that belongs to her. He just had to insist then from her that she will not have access to them. So we had to help her to go to court so that they can give us an injunction to get all these things back, because she had tried other places, went to welfare, went to so many places, they couldn't get them. So we had to go to court. So I'm not an advocate of divorce at all. I'm enjoying my marriage, and I pray that every woman enjoys his or her marriage too. So I don't subscribe to people. So we're only discussing legal things that will not make us to cry later, things that we don't know, that we take for granted in our marriages, that we think are normal, and they're not normal, and the long run will start crying. No, I say that. Nobody will say that. So if you know all these things, everything is in place, and so nobody will cheat anybody. Nobody will cry over anything. So that's just what I'm here to say. God bless you.
Wow, wow. Glory be to God, glory be to God, glory be to God. We thank God for this explosive time. Yeah, I had to just be at the background while I allowed the professional to just roll in the dice. And honestly, I was particularly blessed because I had a lot to also learn from this. And in our counseling with other people, yeah, I've got 1 or 2 tips that I can also add that will aid my counseling. I also want to believe that you were all blessed. You learned from this. It's extensive, it's huge. The scope is just so broad. But we are going to see how much we can bring more of this on board, so that from time to time, we'll get to fielding questions from the audience, and we'll look at it. You can actually private chat with her backstage. All right, now you have personal issues, legal issues. You need legal advice, whether in marriage, in family, in property management, and all that. You can private chat her personally. She's a career woman. She's also a pastor, but this is her profession. So her number is actually 08066543394. And you just take it off from there, and she will attend to you. God bless you. I want to appreciate everybody for joining us. This is the 3rd session. Those of you who might have been wondering, what are we really doing? This is our 2nd year anniversary. Marriage Care International Ministry. You can see it, back in our backdrop. This is just the 2nd year, and we're trying to look at for ways we can do things differently. Yeah, marital issues, we counsel, we talk to people, but beyond that, let's empower. Let's look at credible ways we can make things work financially, legally, and that's why the 4th, and the final session this evening is going to be looking at it from the health dimension. The first in the morning was the real estate. We had the online business opportunity, and of course, we have the legal dimension. So we are going to be having the 4th presenter, and of course, the final one for tonight, talk to us about weight management. And I really want us to look forward to that. She's an expert in the field, and she's someone who has paid her dues. Dr. Adeze Ifezulike, please, I prefer to call her Ifezulike, or known as Ifezulike. She's dynamic, and she will have a lot to share with us. So once again, I want to appreciate my beloved wife, my learned wife. God bless you. Thank you for doing this for us this evening. God bless you, and God bless the audience, both on YouTube and on Zoom. And of course, those of you that will also watch it from Facebook. So please, let's just have a break for about an hour or so. By 8, less than an hour rather, by 8 p.m. GMT local time, Dr. Adeze will be with us. So let's tune in then, and I know we'll have a lot to learn. God bless you. Thank you for joining us this evening. Good night until an hour again from now. Bye.
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 God bless you. God bless you.
God bless you, sir. God bless you, ma'am.
God bless you.
Bye.